Okay, so let's get started. What you will need is a tennis ball and 2 tennis balls in a sock or a peanut. Okay, so we're going to do some shoulder mobility. This is brilliant for all those tennis players out there to release off around your dominant side, but also to keep balance with your other side too. So well worth going through both sides of your rotator cuff muscles, so the ones around your shoulder blade, and then through around, all the way around the shoulder girdle. So let's start. So we're going to come into the centre of our mat. We're going to grab our tennis ball, we're going to take it under the palm of our hand, and we're going to roll it just slowly around our pec muscle. So that's that one on your chest that you start working when you do a press up or a push in front of you of some kind. So the pec deck machine in the gym, that sort of thing. And in tennis it's used quite a lot because obviously everything should be in front of you. So you're just trying to open out the shoulder girdle so you don't end up with that posture where your shoulders are pulling forward. Okay, so releasing it all the way off. I'm doing my right side first, just because I'm right-handed, so I naturally went to it, but we're going to do both. Okay, take it in your hand, and you might feel the difference already between your right side and your left, and release it off. And you'll probably be tighter on your dominant side. So if you're a lefty, this side will be tighter. Okay, I'm really releasing off into that area. So I'm going to speed through everything, but if you need to take more time to work on this area, then just pause the video and do a little bit longer. Okay, so I've done both sides and they both feel nice and open now, and nice and balanced. So we're going to go onto our side and work through into the infraspinatus and the teres minor on the back of your shoulder blade. So this one's nice and painful for those that use it a lot. So we're going to place it into that little bit, so I've got my shoulder blade on the ball, so because my arm is forward, I can really get into that area there, and it should be quite painful, and you can just press up a little through your hand on the floor to take some of the pressure off so it isn't quite so painful. But you're just lying on your side and you're rolling forward and back just to free it off. If you feel any nervy symptoms into your hand, just ease off slightly because we don't want to give you a dead arm. And you can also bring your arm across your body to really get into the back there. And I'm even moving slightly towards the insertion onto the top of the arm bone there, onto the humeral head. And then you can start to move through to ease it off. Okay, and I'm really coming now into the posterior deltoid, so the back side of that muscle that comes over the top of the shoulder. So really easing into it and freeing it off. So I'm getting around the shoulder capsule, so you should be able to get right the way into the back of the capsule there. And you can rest your head down if you wish to do this. Takes a little bit of the pressure off. Or you can be hardcore like me and just keep a little bit more pressure through. Okay, so we're going to roll it slightly further back and turn onto our back, And so we're just easing through the top of the shoulder, so into the posterior deltoid, and then where it reaches on to the shoulder blade. So we're going into the top of that infraspinatus muscle and almost kind of coming over into the supraspinatus, another one of your rotator cuff. And you can start to roll a little bit further down to get into more of your supraspinatus. And you will be hitting your upper fibres of traps as well, and middle fibres of traps, so you're never going to isolate one thing. Okay. And then releasing out. Okay, we're going to go now into more of our lats and round into our serratus anterior. So we're now just in front of the shoulder blade and coming round the side of our rib cage, and there's a point at which, in fact, you can also get into teres minor under there as well. So you can roll through, come round, so it's just in front of that shoulder blade now. And there should be some really nasty points in there. And you'll probably hate me for the rest of the day, but I can live with that. Okay. And coming through, moving through with the arm. Okay, this is where having the peanut comes in useful, because now we can sit it to the front and back of the rib cage at the same time and start to roll through. So you're just using your bottom leg and your top arm and that elbow on the floor as leverage through to really get into that really painful bit at the back of your shoulder blade. That's it. Okay, and then you can start to roll through a little bit more into the side as well. And again, using your legs to maneuver, so you can even draw through a little bit. So it's kind of like a rolling pin. You just have to be careful around a couple of the nerves, because your rib cage has a lot of nerves that come around it, so you don't want to create any deadness or press too hard in any areas. Right, we're going to go into the lats a little bit more now, so we're going kind of more onto our back, but again the peanut is to the side, so it's to the left side of my spine, and so I'm just starting to roll into my lats there. There we go, really releasing off. Okay, so you should find after that, now your left side feels really loose and your right side feels much tighter. So we're going to go through and do exactly the same thing on our right side. So grab the ball and we're going to start off with the right infraspinatus. I'm right-handed, so this is killing me. So just coming through, and you can rotate through, you can come forward and back, and you can go up and down through. horrible. Don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Okay, all the way through, and you can see how it's kind of squashing the tissues under my arm, squashing them forwards because I'm right on the back of the shoulder blade there, and in the gap between where the humeral head, the glenohumeral joint, your shoulder joint, meets the capsule, meets the glenoid fossa, which is just the part on the main trunk of your body as it meets the shoulder blade. Okay, so we're now going to go through into posterior deltoid as well, so into the back muscle of the shoulder. So it's that one that you can see just over the top of your shoulder. And you can feel the gap between where your arm bone meets your shoulder, and you want to get into that gap again without causing any numbness or tingling into your hand. And again, you can rotate through, so into your sleeper stretches. If you're a tennis player, you'll know these. And also up and down. Oh, that is hideous. Okay, and then coming slightly further back and really coming through, rolling towards me and back, so I'm really kind of reaching forward and back to roll onto the ball, and again overhead, overhead, oh, overhead. So this is all stuff that you can do to stay away from your physio. No one likes physios anyway, do they? They're just mean. Right, and coming back through. And then onto more of the top of your shoulder blade, so getting into that supraspinatus area, and you'll find that it does hit your upper fibers of traps. And then you want to go through onto more of the front side. Of your shoulder blade. So we're trying to get into serratus anterior here. So again, just use your lower legs and rolling forward and back onto the ball. So the aim is to keep yourself moving on it to release off the tension. So you're just rolling through the tissues. So it's like a really nice deep tissue massage, really. You don't need any spiky balls, you don't need anything crazy, any crazy equipment. This is just super easy, as you can see. Okay, so we're going to grab the peanut and we're going to go through into the lats. So again, on your side and just rolling up and down. So use that back foot as leverage and your front arm. And just watch out for any nerves on your rib cage. And you can really take it a little bit further up. And again, you can use your arm through range. And it really kind of squashes the tissue forward. So nice and attractive as it squashes your bingo wings. Just as they come through. Well, the start of your bingo wings, we're not quite there yet. Not that any of you have them. Okay, and then going onto your back and just working through into your lats a little bit. So again, I'm to the right side of my spine now, and I can just manoeuvre to the side. And you might find, quite often I find with tennis players, is they get a little bit stuck in their rib cage, and this can be really nice to release off all those costochondral joints, costovertebral joints. So where it meets the cartilage and joins onto your vertebrae. So you might get a few little clicks. That's fine as long as they're not painful and you can still breathe afterwards. You haven't popped a rib. Okay. So, coming back to the centre, just check. Yep, I can get lovely range of movement overhead now. Arms behind back, etc. So you're really able to free that off. So we want to get through into triceps. This is slightly harder and depends on range, but you can either do it onto a surface out in front of you, or if you're feeling nice and flexible, you can work into your triceps there. So you can either have it up on a table, or you can work through it onto the floor. And then what you want to do is bring your arms to straight and to bent as you do it. So you're really extending through the elbow to get a nice stretch through the tissues at the same time. So you're creating the lock, and I'm just biasing my weight onto my left arm. Again, you don't want to squash any nerves with the ball, but you should start to feel the difference between a dead nervy pain and a nice muscular pain. Well, you will do the more you start to do myofascial release. Of course, the myofascia does contain the nerves and the blood vessels, so you might get a few sensations, but as long as it's nothing that's too painful or permanent. Otherwise you will need a physio. Okay, so we're now going to go into the right side and do exactly the same. So rolling out and straightening and bending. That's it. So you can see you're just trying to get that reach overhead. Okay, any last bits that you need following this? You might find that you want to just get the top of your tricep a little bit more, either that way or that way, and really get into the area just at the top of it where it joins. So into the insertion. And the fascial line, so it's not just the insertion of the muscle, it's where it connects onto the connective tissue to join the next muscle down, which would be into where your lats are. So again, just releasing off those last little bits. And you should feel you've got nice range there. Biceps are a little bit trickier, and I would just do those with a ball. So do some nice little circles through. You can start to take it away from you, so you're opening it out. And the other thing you can do is you can start to work through it on the floor, and even slightly turning away. And I'm just going into the muscle belly, but you can release further up into the tendon. So I'll just show you on the other side. You can't really see, but actually what I'm doing is I'm turning away. Can you see there the ball? So that's my arm there, and we're just turning my body away. It's probably worth warning your housemates of what you're doing beforehand, because it can look a bit strange. Okay, so we've now released off all the way around the shoulders, the chest, the shoulder girdle, and round the glenohumeral joint. But now it's a good idea to work through your thoracic spine, so the middle of your back, around your rib cage, and up into the neck. But I've got another video that does that, so go on to thoracic mobility to find that video too. Thanks for joining me, my tennis ball and my peanut, and I hope to see you soon.